Today, I'll show you how to transform your favorite farming game into a fascinating mining game. Additionally, I'll present the largest machines we can use in this mine. And finally, I'll show you how to become a miner even on consoles. Let's get started. The mod we'll be using is Terraform. If you're hearing about it for the first time, don't worry. I'll briefly go over its key features while presenting these enormous machines. The largest wheel loader I found is the Komatsu WA 1800. This beast has 532 horsepower, and its bucket can hold up to 75,000 liters. For comparison, the largest bucket in the base game holds only 4,000 liters. Although our primary concern was the bucket's capacity, the size of the loader itself is impressive. This is evidenced by the size of the ladder we have to climb to get into it. For those who don't like ladders, there are also stairs, which are also quite long. It's probably hard for you to imagine how huge this machine is, so the best way to illustrate this is to place the largest wheel loader from the base game next to it. Now, you can believe me that it's truly a massive vehicle. In the real world, it's almost as enormous, but let's not get too excited because work awaits. Let's hop into our wheel loader and I'll discuss its first functions. A new HUD appears in the top right corner. Important note, the bucket of our machine or the machine itself must be compatible with this mod for everything to work. Don't worry, all the modifications presented today work with this mod. Terraform is responsible for filling our bucket with material and discharge is for emptying. I set the Terraform mode to flatten using the Y key, and the discharge mode also to flatten using the B key. To start editing the terrain, I click O. Now, when scooping up soil with the bucket, the terrain is leveled. And then when I dump the soil, the terrain is also leveled. It's not very realistic, but we can make it more realistic by changing the discharge mode to raise. Now it looks better, but there's one more very noticeable thing to fix. To do this, we need to change our wheel loader because this one doesn't have that function. The CAT 949KXL wheel loader has this function. It's slightly smaller than the Komatsu, its bucket holds 55,000 liters, but it has a whopping 1,850 horsepower. Additionally, it has a function to remove the bucket's collision, so now when we scoop up soil, the bucket digs into it instead of magically picking it up. It looks really great. However, it's still not completely realistic because I have to wait a moment for the soil to be scooped up. We can improve this by going into the menu and doubling the power of our smoothing. And now, in my opinion, it looks much more realistic. However, to make the simulation more complete, we need to do something with all that soil we're moving around. So now I'll show you how to transport materials from one place to another. For this, we'll use a haul truck with an impressive capacity of over 250,000 liters. It's the largest vehicle, perfectly fitting today's theme. If you thought the ladder on the wheel loader was long, here we have an even bigger challenge. An interesting feature is that part of this ladder folds away when you get into the cabin. To show you the size of this vehicle, we'll compare it with the largest trailer in the base game, which can transport stones. Yes, stones. That's what gets loaded into the bucket while digging. This is one drawback of this mod. We don't have the option for soil. We can change the material to manure or road salt, but stones are the best option here. We can add soil, but that would require editing map files, which isn't quick or easy. We can also set how the terrain should look after digging and dumping the material. Remember to change the discharge mode to material if you want to load stones onto the trailer. If we want to dig a deep hole, it's better to use an excavator rather than a wheel loader. The Komatsu PC 8000 is a true beast. It has 1,115 horsepower and a bucket capacity of 57,000 liters. To get behind the controls, we have to climb a long ladder. To show its size, I'll highlight the number of fire extinguishers it has. It's impressive. I'm not sure if all visible elements are exhaust pipes, but it looks impressive. To dig deep holes, you need to set the Terraform mode to low and the discharge mode as you prefer. Loading onto a trailer requires skill, as controlling this machine isn't easy. Initially, I wondered how to empty the bucket. The problem is the length of the excavator arm. It's not long enough for digging deep holes. In such cases, it's better to use a full-fledged excavator. The Volvo EC 950 EL is an example of such an excavator. It has 544 horsepower and a bucket capacity of 10,400 liters. It may not be as impressive as the previous machine, machines, but compared to the basic models, it's still quite large. Digging and loading might take some time, but compared to smaller machines, it's still a significant improvement. It is fairly standard in size and it doesn't require much effort to get into it. Although it might seem like you're moving small amounts of material at first, you can dig much deeper holes, but it will take a bit more time. But digging holes isn't the only important task. There are other features of this mod. We can also have fun with rollers. Although rollers aren't as gigantic as the previous machines, I particularly like this model. I'll demonstrate the roller's features using this example. The roller has three main modes: flatten, smooth, and paint. The flatten mode levels the terrain, and while removing hills might seem unrealistic, it's an interesting option compared to the painting in the construction menu. The smooth mode functions more like a traditional roller, allowing you to level and smooth the terrain. You can adjust the strength and speed of smoothing in the settings. The last option is paint, which allows for painting the terrain. There are more texture options than in the original construction menu. You can adjust the painting width, and importantly, it doesn't remove grass or bushes. The last category of machines we can play with are dozers. I managed to find a real giant in this category. Although it doesn't make as big an impression as the whole truck compared to the roller, the difference in size is noticeable. Dozer has two main options: smoothing and leveling the terrain. Even though it's on tracks, it can easily get stuck. Controlling this machine requires skill, but once you get familiar with its capabilities, the work becomes really satisfying. So, how do you become a miner on consoles? If you're playing on PC, you might also enjoy this map because I personally found it very appealing. Besides the ability to dig, there's a modified store which is quite rare. The store menu has been edited, adding a unique atmosphere. The map is very interesting, and if you like John Deere tractors, you'll enjoy playing in the new farmer mode since you start with mainly John Deere vehicles. The map resembles no man's land because most of it is wasteland, with a few smaller fields, one large field, and a forest. There is also a large mine that works on consoles. If you're playing on another platform and don't want to download other mods, you can still dig here. There's definitely plenty to do. Just download the map and you can start having fun. There's no need to set anything else up or download anything extra to become a miner. You can even use basic equipment, though it won't have the same vibe. Fortunately, I've found a few machines that enhance the experience and work on all platforms. Starting with the basics, there's a nice lizard wheel loader. It's not as massive as the one presented at the beginning of the video, but its bucket holds 12,500 liters. Our machine has 370 horsepower and is yellow, giving it that typical mining machinery look. In the mine, it's not just about moving material around, but also transporting it to the right place. For hauling materials out of the mine, the Komatsu HM400 dumper is perfect. Yes, it's available on all platforms. It has 453 horsepower and can carry 25,000 liters. It might not be a lot, but it fits the mine 3 times better than a regular trailer in terms of atmosphere and realistic mining simulation. For a realistic mining simulation, an excavator is needed. On all platforms, there's a beautiful machine from JCB. It comes with 3 buckets, and the largest holds 1,600 liters, which is perfect for loading the aforementioned vehicle. The excavator has 173 horsepower and a long arm. The only downside is the lack of a collision removal option for the bucket, which can be inconvenient. This is likely a limitation related to consoles. Let me know in the comments if you'd like an episode dedicated to the best mods available on all platforms. See you soon.